Welcome to the Page Turners Project, a part of Community Reads at Wood County District Public Library. I'm Matthew Reger, the Bowling Green City Prosecutor, and I'd like to tell you about Travels with Charley in Search of America by John Steinbeck. A book can be like a good friend that you visit at different times over your life, and with each sojourn find something different and appealing that keeps you coming back. Travels with Charley in Search of America, a book written by John Steinbeck in 1960, near the end of his writing career, has been that friend for me for over 20 years. I first discovered the book in high school when I was a devotee of Steinbeck and was discovering his characters and their journeys, all of which seemed to center around or end in the Salinas Valley in California. In Travels with Charley, Steinbeck heads out from his home in Long Island, New York, with his French poodle Charley, a newly outfitted 3/4-ton GMC named Rocinante, after Don Quixote's horse, and a desire to see how America had changed since he first traveled as a young writer. Along the way, he finds average people doing average things that weave together into the fabric of one country. This book inspired me at a young age to travel. It ignited a fire in me that seems to have never been extinguished. After reading the book and having never been west of Lake Michigan, I committed myself to someday do a Travels with Charley trip. That stayed with me through college, and I finally had my chance in 1993 when I graduated from law school. I had 2 weeks between graduation and beginning to study for the bar exam. I called a friend from high school, my replacement for Charley, and set out on a somewhat planned trip. We headed west towards Illinois, and then followed the Mississippi River to Memphis. From Memphis, we headed west and just kept going. Through Texas, New Mexico, and into Arizona. I never thought I would see the Pacific Ocean. At a stop in the Grand Canyon, I was taken back to Travels with Charley when I saw what appeared to be an exact replica of Rocinante. I stopped and marveled at this moving house, with its sleeping cab attached to the bed of the truck and the simple touches of curtains in the windows. I could imagine Steinbeck and Charley sitting inside, having a nap or maybe a cup of coffee, planning their next destination. I almost went up to it to knock on the door. In a moment of imagination, I thought that maybe, just maybe, the door would open and there would be John Steinbeck and Charley waiting to tell me about their adventure. Reality, though, grabbed a hold of me and told me to continue on my own adventure and let my imagination continue to believe that John and Charley were still in that truck. When I finally reached California, I realized what Steinbeck had loved about this state, and in particular the Salinas Valley. The hills were a beautiful green and looked as though God had taken sandpaper to smooth out the rough edges. They rolled on, and the road seemed to grip them like a line drawn by a preschooler with a crayon. I was simply amazed as the car went up and down on its way to the sea. Finally, we did reach the ocean, and as soon as I could find a beach, we stopped, and I ran into the Pacific Ocean for the first time. Steinbeck discovered a different America from the one he wrote about in the 1930s. He worried that regionalism was dying with the proliferation of televisions and bland Midwestern announcers who had eliminated any hint of local accent. But in spite of his worries, he observed that America was a group of different people from different worlds who made up a place that he and they called home. And it was a home that he, in the end, decided that he liked. I never really understood this regionalism that was so important to Steinbeck until I left America. I lived overseas for a year and was constantly told by Europeans how Americans don't understand the rest of the world and know little about the world. I had to agree with this statement, even acknowledging that I really didn't know much about the world outside of America. But in my discussions with these worldly people, I found that they did not understand America. They saw Americans as one group of people with similar backgrounds, lifestyles, and attitudes, albeit with varying shades of political colors from red to blue. What they missed, and what Steinbeck had shown me, was that America was filled with regional differences that made up one country. We are a united country but have distinct differences. A person in Maine has a much different background and experience than someone from California, but we're able to unite along our common purposes. I think that is still true today. In the book, Steinbeck professes that people don't take trips, trips take people. Over time, I've come to understand that thought and have discovered that it is very true. The trip I took out west began long before I ever left and has continued even to this day as I recount aspects of it, including my meeting with Rocinante. Trips, like books, are friends that we dream of seeing, enjoy while visiting, and long to visit again as we go on with everyday life. Travels with Charley, in Search of America, has continued to inspire me to travel, to read, and to return to this good friend and find out about my home, our home, America. I'm Matthew Reger, encouraging you to read for pleasure often and to encourage others to do so as well. For more suggestions, visit the page turner submission on Wood County Public Library's Facebook page.